Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm Tom Christiano. Well, tonight we have an outstanding panel of local individuals to talk about what's going on in Chelmsford, to talk about an upcoming fundraiser for animals, to talk about the 9/11 memorial at the fire station and town meeting, a lot that's going on at town meeting. So with me tonight we have Bob Morse. How are you, Bob?
Oh, I'm doing very well, Tom.
Hey, thanks for being on the show for your 11th time, Bob.
It's
How
my
about
pleasure.
that?
Yeah.
So 2 more, you get the lucky 13.
Ooh, I
Everybody
like
seems
13.
to survive it when we have 13, but 11's good, though. 11's good. And so Bob is a longtime member and chairperson or chairman of the Chelmsford Community Preservation Fund, right, Bob?
Yeah, 12 years as chair and 13 years on the committee.
They didn't want you unless you're chair, it seems, right? Like, Bob has to be the chairperson.
Everybody
chairman.
gets the opportunity every year.
Wow, 12 years as chairman, wow. So you'll be speaking at the town meeting this year. We have a number of articles about community preservation that we'll be talking about in the show tonight. So Bob also has been a town meeting representative in Precinct 9, also a longtime member of the Chelmsford Planning Board. Any other committees that you're on, Bob, or something that you might want to mention?
Master Plan Implementation Committee as a member of the Community Preservation Committee.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, they're representative there. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on the show again, Bob.
Always a pleasure.
And we have my friend Mike McCall with us. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Your 19th time on the show, Mike.
Wow. One more 20.
One more 20, and that's a rarefied group, as I was saying before the show. There's not too many. But Mike has maybe the honor and the distinction of being one of the first panelists I had on the very first show 19 years ago this month. And we had Jack Emerson on the show, Mike McCall, Bill Logan, and Barbara Ward, who was on the school committee. Mike and Jack and Bill all were selectmen at various times.
Yep.
Mike was a selectman for 9 years, was it, Mike?
Yes. At that point, Bill Logan, I think, and I were there as members of the Republican Town Committee, and Jack and Barbara Ward were taking the Democratic view on elections at
That's
the time.
right. So we had some changes in the show over the years because we were talking a lot about more national politics. We get 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats on, and the first 2 shows were 30-minute shows, and the time just flew by, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we had a great time. But now, after those 2 shows, we went to 1 hour, and we talk a lot about local issues as well, sometimes national issues too, especially as we get closer to the presidential election or the state representative elections. I host many debates, things like that. So Mike also, in addition to being a former a selectman here in Chelmsford, is currently and has been a town meeting representative for quite a while, is a chairman of the MARCOM committee, which is a committee that the town moderator set up?
The Moderator's Rules Advisory Committee. So at the last town meeting, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but it was set up to review the rules that hadn't been reviewed since 1991.
And yeah, so we'll talk about that on the show, which is great. And also, Mike is an attorney, and you're currently a prosecutor, have been for a number of years now in New Hampshire, right?
Yep. And I'm also on the Board of Registrars here in town. So on election night, you don't see me out holding signs because I'm down the town hall with Onorina and her staff collecting all the ballots and validating the election.
Nice.
So.
And you're a longtime Republican, Mike, right?
Yep, I've been on the town committee. Generally, you come from the town committees to the registrar position, so someone off the Democratic town committee comes on from the Democratic side. So.
Nice. Do you have any aspirations to run for higher office for the Republicans? That I know you're a Republican, you were a selectman. Do you ever think of running for state rep or state senator?
I have to check with my wife before I do.
Yeah, because you have 3 fairly young children, right? Not too young, but
2 middle schoolers and 1 high schooler, so
Yeah,
it keeps
so
pretty busy.
3, busy with that, and then your job and everything.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks for being here again, Mike.
Thanks again, Tom. My pleasure.
And we have for the first time on the show, Michelle Sacco. How are you, Michelle?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm a little bit nervous, but
it's going to
thank
be
you for
great,
having me.
Michelle. Your first time on the show.
Yes,
and
sir.
Michelle, as everyone could tell by her uniform, is a
Yes.
Chelmsford firefighter, right?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been a firefighter,
I'm on my
Michelle?
3rd year right now.
Your 3rd year. How do you like it?
I love the job.
You too?
Best
That's
job in the
wonderful.
world.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Do you have a special assignment or anything? Do you do? What do you do mostly?
I'm right now currently in the center station, which is
Center,
our
yeah.
main fire headquarters, and I run all pieces, from the rescue to the engine to the small rescue. So a little bit of everything,
Nice.
which is great. I
Yeah.
get to experience, the medicals, the accidents, the fires and stuff.
So you must be an EMT as well?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
well, if I get sick, I'm calling you. And,
Absolutely. I
to
love my
get over there
job.
right away.
Absolutely.
In fact, about a year ago, I had a new front door installed in my house. I don't
Yeah.
mean to digress much, but I'll just be quick. So I had this new door installed, and I didn't have an extra key hidden in my house yet, right?
Yeah.
So you might know, I go on a bike ride. The next morning, I come back, the electricity's out, so my garage door isn't opening. I had no hidden key, no way to get in the house. I did have my cell phone with me, though. I called the 911, or they asked for the local fire station people, and 2 nice young firefighters came out, and somehow they found a way to get on the second floor. Even though the screen door was kind of locked, they found a way to get in. They used the ladder to get upstairs and come in and open the front door for me. Because this was kind of the winter months, too. It was kind of chilly. It wasn't a nice day. So I guess they thought this old guy is going to freeze to death or whatever. But they really helped me out a lot. And I wrote a nice thank you to the fire
thank
station
you.
to give them credit. I forgot their first names at the moment. But anyway, you do a
We
great
respond to those
job.
calls as well.
Yeah, you guys do a
Vehicle
great job.
lockouts, house lockouts,
Yeah, it's
everything in
great.
between.
I really appreciate it because, like I said, it was cold that day. Because I bike throughout the year now, as long as it's not snow or ice on the ground, and if it's kind of near 40 degrees or above. But well, thanks for being here, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have Crystal Galloway, Arnott.
Yes.
Arnott.
Yep.
Arnott. And your second time on the show, right, Crystal?
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And you are one of the managers at the Lowell Humane Society, right?
Right.
And last time you were on was December, and you brought in a little guinea pig to the show. Today you brought in a beautiful kitty, right?
Yeah, this is Letty. She's
Letty?
looking for a home.
And how old is Letty?
Letty's about a year old. She was a stray, so we're
Oh.
not sure exactly how old she is. It's just kind of an estimate.
I see. Well, we'll talk more about her on the show later on, okay?
Great.
And about the Lowell Humane Society and some upcoming fundraisers and things like that.
Excellent.
Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you.
And we have my friend Phil Jones with us for the second time
Hi,
also.
Tom. How
Hi,
you doing?
Phil. Good to see you.
How you doing?
So Phil, as everyone knows, is the co-owner, I guess, with your wife, right, of Jones Farm here in Chelmsford.
Right.
How many years has it been now, Phil?
30.
30, wow.
Something.
The time flew by.
Flew by.
And so tonight, Phil's going to talk about the new farmers market that they have. They're going to be expanding it in the summer. And he's also going to be talking about a CSA program where they sell these wonderful organic vegetables
Yeah.
throughout the year. And also, there was a nice thing I could say about you, too, Phil. I don't know if you remember this, but I produced and hosted the community spring celebration concerts in 1999 and 2000 at McCarthy Auditorium. And I called up Jones Farm and see if they could bring some flowers over to decorate the stage. And the Jones Farm and Phil did a wonderful job with flowers all over the stage, all volunteer. He didn't ask for anything in return. Remember that,
Yeah.
Phil?
It really looked nice.
It was wonderful, yeah. It was like all kinds of impatiens or
Yeah.
something all there. So thank you again for doing that for us. And you do a lot of volunteer work for the town, I'm sure. So,
Glad to.
so I guess if we could start with Bob Morse tonight, because we have our town meeting coming up. It's going to begin next week. Today is April 22nd, and the town meeting is going to begin on the Monday of next week. And one of the articles that may come up on the first night, if not the second night, is Article 16. It's proposed by the Community Preservation Committee and the Conservation Commission. And it talks about a feasibility study to be undertaken by the Conservation Commission for the repair, replacement, or removal of the Crooked Spring Dam. So Bob, could you tell us a little about that?
So this really started in 2013. The water level of Crooked Spring was dropping during the summertime. It was really draining out. And I wasn't involved in the effort, so it's all reported from what I've read and what I've been told. But I know like the land stores went out and made an effort to clean the standpipe, and the DPW went in and did some more work on the standpipe.
What's a standpipe, Bob?
The standpipe is it's a vertical pipe that sits near the dam, and the purpose of it is really to take the water level, keep it the pond at a certain water level, and to pass the water through the standpipe and then out the bottom.
Yeah, nice.
So something was happening where the water level was dropping down, and the suspicion was that it was leaking through the standpipe at some point. It's supposed to be watertight all the way up to where the water enters it, and if there's a leak someplace else, then the water is going to flow out that way.
Yes, yes.
So the purpose of the warrant article is to really do a thorough study of the dam structure. The last time it was rebuilt was 1972, so it's been a while, 40 plus years since it's been rebuilt. And the purpose is to look at it, analyze it with an engineering study, come up with the reason for why it was losing water, and what the cost would be for repairing it, what the cost would be for replacing it if that's what needs to be done, and also to look at the cost of removing it if that's decided to be the most beneficial thing to do.
Oh.
So
How much is this article, Bob, estimated? Did you say? How much money was
it's $10,000.
Oh, that's not too much, huh?
Yeah, it's for
It's
a
just for the
study.
study,
It's
yeah.
for a study. It's not
Oh, to
funding
do the work,
any
yeah.
of that work. The work itself, repair hopefully would be not that much money. Replacement of it is known to be
Oh,
up
many
there.
thousands.
Yeah,
something.
oh, many hundreds of thousands
Wow.
of dollars
So we have to
potentially.
hope that we could do a repair, right?
Yeah, because it's a precious resource, and it's a
Yes.
popular place, beautiful spot,
Yeah.
and a lot of history there of people going out and enjoying the pond and skating and just liking the natural beauty.
Did a lot of people skate there this winter, do you know? Or
I saw pictures
Oh,
on
good.
Facebook
Oh,
of
good.
of skating going on there. I think
Nice.
during the maybe even during the Winterfest. might have been.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah, I think I've seen some of those pictures on
Mhm.
Facebook.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody is on Facebook, please join the Chelmsford Reps and Residents group on Facebook, because I manage that group, and we have like almost 900 members now, just about 900, and we post whenever things are going on in town, what's happening in Chelmsford, that kind of thing. Like, for example, this Saturday at McCarthy School, they're going to have like a drive to take your old microwave ovens, computers, televisions, things like that. So that's at McCarthy School this coming Saturday. It's like maybe the 27th or something like that, in the morning, and you make a donation and drop something off there. It's also the same day as I think our hazardous
Yes.
waste drive, right?
The 26th.
26th, great. So this Saturday is a big day. But anyway, the Chelmsford Reps and Residents Group, we let people know, or remind them about all these things. So that would be good to try. Well, thanks, Bob, for filling us in on that article.
Oh, my pleasure.
And maybe if we could talk to Phil, you're next on the agenda. If you don't mind, Phil, could you talk? Now, the farmer's market, I guess you had it recently. It's called the Spring Farmer's Market. And I guess it was so successful, you're going to do it in the summer as well, right?
Yep, we're gonna continue it. We're gonna move it outside. Good friend of mine just offered us a tent, so we'll be able to put a tent up and have everybody under cover.
Nice.
So they won't have to bring tents and they won't have to set up. It'll be and
When's it
we-
starting, Phil? This-
well, we're gonna run inside until May, through May, and then.
Oh, through
and then-
May inside, I see.
Yeah, unless we get it set up earlier,
Yep.
we had just cleared all the pad out for everything today, and we're getting ready
Wonderful.
to bring the music outside in the corner, add some tables, and.
Where's it
and,
going to be? Up where you had?
Where
you
we
had
used to
some
sell our
parking, right?
perennials.
Oh, right. And
So,
you have some
so
parking
it'll
there,
be
right?
easy for the vendors to,
Yeah.
actually, we had a rose garden, and we're gonna do a
Yeah.
cut flower garden along the back of it, so it'll be really pretty where the vendors will be,
Nice,
and then
nice.
along the road, and the tent will sit where we used to have all the perennials used to sit in there. And we have a stone wall there that our interns, we eat lunch at in the summertime, so the tables will be there already, and we're gonna add about 5 or 6 tables, and
Oh,
then
that'd be great.
have a spot for Brian and Jeff, and
Yep,
we're gonna look for some more acoustic players or,
oh, that's going to be fantastic.
yeah, so
'Cause
we'll see if we can have music.
Brian Henderson is a
He's
wonderful singer.
unbelievable.
And Jeff is Jeff Apostolakis.
Lacus, yeah.
And these guys sing, and they don't sing too loud, so you can't talk to anybody.
No, it's really,
It's
yeah, they
beautiful,
do a great
nice
job.
kind of background music, but they're wonderful singers.
Yeah, so,
And yeah, and a lot of people come, and I'm glad you're having more tables because you have some nice people like Amy at Wild Nick's Cafe.
Sure.
She makes the best dishes I've ever had, just about. And it'd be great, I think, with more tables, we'll have more people coming there for
Yeah.
lunch.
yeah, we've got
And
like,
she'll,
we'll
and
have
others will do
like
great.
10, we'll have like 10 tables out
10
there.
and the coffee guy's gonna be there, right? The coffee
Tim,
guy?
yeah,
Tim.
Tim, and the
And-
Bagel Inn told us they
Oh,
wanted to be
great,
there,
bagels
so.
be there.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great if they could maybe kind of toast a bagel some hours. Maybe they can't do that. I don't know, but
Well, they
but
were
could
talking,
just have
well, actually, we were talking about inside, I think we could.
Oh, nice.
But I have,
But-
I don't know, there's like 3 or 4 lines in the ground out there, so there's electricity
nice.
out there
Oh,
too.
maybe you could do it if
So
you
there'll be
wanted to,
electricity
but
out there.
And the Humble Crumb Bakery,
Humble
she's going
Crumb,
to be there
she's
too?
gonna be there, yeah.
Nice.
And then,
The fish person there,
Fish,
Cheryl?
yeah, Cheryl committed, and
Good.
and then we're looking
You-
for Don in Woburn. There's a fellow that does these packaged nuts that they prepare, and he does a really nice job. So we're gonna
Nice.
see if we can get them
Right.
and a cheese person out of Vermont. I hope so.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to continue the Saturdays right through May inside,
Right
maybe,
through.
or maybe if it gets too warm and you're ready, you could
We'll go
move
out.
them
Yeah, we'll go outside,
outside.
and we're planning
Right
on having
through.
some animals, and we got a
Wonderful.
calf coming and some.
Oh, that'd
yeah,
be
some sheep
another
for the
great
kids.
attraction.
For the
To
kids.
chickens, because you have chickens too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
they're
we have
further
plenty of
down.
chickens.
You could maybe bring some chickens over,
Well, the
some
chicken
rabbits.
store, you know. We doubled our flock. We didn't know it, but we woke
Yeah.
went down there.
Yeah, nice.
Somebody threw 13 new chickens in our pen while
Oh,
we
that's
were.
going to be
Oh, wow.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's every Saturday for people to know
Yep.
at Jones Farm, which is on Acton Road, right on top of the hill.
Right.
Before you get to South Chelmsford, it's easy to find. Most
Yeah.
people probably know where it is at the moment. And it's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.,
To 2
right,
p.m.
Phil?
Right. Yep.
Every
We're pretty
Saturday,
excited
so
about
it'd
it,
be
yeah. I think it's gonna be great.
I go whenever I have a chance, Phil. You know,
You're
after
there a lot.
after my biking, my
Yeah.
14 miles, I get over there.
Well, it's
and-
right down the street, Tom. It's only like
Oh,
a
I
half a
know,
mile away.
I
Yeah,
know,
come on.
I know. Right down the street from me. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And the bike path,
Bike
if
path,
that's
yeah,
what you meant.
yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's what I mean.
But I only live right.
You can shortcut it right at
Yeah.
Agway, so you can.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like to go all sweaty. All the ladies don't like to see me. They want me nice and showered and ready to go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Sure. No, but I do like talking to all my friends there, Phil. It's a great time, and so it's doing well for Jones Farm. They'll probably bring in more traffic.
Yeah,
would you say?
I think so. I think a lot of new people that we haven't seen in a
Oh,
while.
good.
Some people that are kind
You-
of discovering it.
And it's going to be great, like when it's corn season, tomato season, and you have all kinds of more fresh vegetables from
Yep.
your own farm there.
Yeah, we're
I mean,
we're
it'll
looking
be
forward
great.
to it. We're looking forward to it. I'm actually
It'll be
talking to
great.
some cooks that we're gonna try to do maybe a cooking thing at the end.
Oh, nice.
For
That's-
some nutritionists out of Boston we're talking to about maybe doing cooking and how we can take, the things that are in season and that can make some really healthy dishes for people.
That'd be
and- yeah.
fantastic. I like watching cooking shows, so especially Diners, Drivers, and Dives on the Food Network.
Yeah.
That Guy Fieri and his show. Oh, it makes me so hungry, though. Oh my God! Did you ever, I don't know if you ever saw
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Phil, but it's great. Well, thanks, Phil. We'll talk about
Okay.
some other things later.
Sure.
Mike, maybe if we could talk to you for a few minutes about the MARCOM
Sure.
committee.
I was going to put a plug in
Yeah.
for Phil.
Yeah.
About this time every year, I go visit him. I started an organic garden years ago for the kids.
Oh.
And Phil's always been kind enough to help me out. He got me organic soil. He gets me some starter plants. And I always joke my garden eats better than most people because a lot of his organic composting thing comes from Maine. And it's got lobsters, clams, all that
Oh
stuff.
my
So
God.
I can't, the reason why I have such great tomatoes is the stuff that Phil gets me. So.
Wow, that's wonderful. Jeez. So you're chairperson of the MARCOM committee, right, Mike?
Yes.
So what's going on with that?
So how that came about was at the end of last town meeting and last fall, then moderator DeFreitas announced he wanted to have a committee to review the rules that hadn't been reviewed since 1991. So he initially asked for someone from each precinct, and then we wound up having caucuses, and each precinct selected a representative. I was representative 3. I could go through all the names, but there was a
that's
total of
okay.
9 of
Yeah,
us.
9, yeah.
And we'll have a presentation, hopefully, under Article 1. I talked briefly to the current moderator, John Curlin, after the election. I have to follow up with him this week and give him a copy of our report. But we met weekly from November right through to the end of March. And what we did initially, we talked about our own issues. We developed a mission statement, but then we solicited input from the 162 reps and some other folks that watched town meeting. And we identified 44 unique issues that are concerns that people have with town meeting. And we categorized those into 5 areas: decorum, procedure, time limits, logistics, and education. And then we condensed those 44 issues down into 14 recommendations and 6 suggestions, I believe, to the Board of Selectmen and town manager and the town clerk. Now, some of them may cause a little bit of feather ruffling when we get there, but really what we were looking at is fairness, civility, and efficiency. And those were the biggest issues that people had. Really, it came down to time limits and the question and answer period were the biggest issues. And Chelmsford's unique in the sense that we're one of the few town meetings that has a question and answer period. Most just have presentation and debate. And we have this segment, which is, it's in our bylaws for the question and answer, where the proponent gets up and explains the article and can take factual questions. And most of our recommendations center around the manager being a strong manager. He has a lot of discretion underneath both the charter and the statutes, and he has to manage the meeting efficiently, but also ensure that nobody's running the meeting from the microphone. There shouldn't be any debate from the presenter, and there should be efficiency in how the lines are managed. And we're gonna recommend we go back to the one microphone, and I know John Curlin wants to do that. And we just felt that would work better, especially if the moderator uses his discretion to ensure the line moves and to elicit the minority opinion from time to time. If he has 5 or 6 people in a row that are saying yes, 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 he can say, does anybody else have a differing opinion? If nobody does, he can either solicit, move the question, or do it upon his own. He can take it upon himself. That way we can have a more orderly, more efficient meeting and make sure that there's civil interaction, nobody essentially baiting the presenter from the microphone. So if we stick to the recommendations and suggestions that we've made, we think it's going to make for a better town meeting.
Are those going to be implemented automatically, or do we need to vote at town meeting?
Well, we've recommended one bylaw, a new bylaw, and one amendment, so those would have to be voted upon. Most of the recommendations that we have are things that could be adopted by the moderator under his rules of decorum and debate. And one of our members, Jerry Mead, with the help of all of us talking about the various suggestions, had come up with a draft moderator's rules of decorum and debate. So I have to get together with John and show him what we've done. I'm going to email him the final copy. I have to make a few more edits, and then hopefully he'll look at them and decide whether he can implement them on night one if
Nice.
he so.
Well, that's good. So we won't have days and days of debating at town meeting all these recommendations,
And
sounds like, which is good.
my understanding, it has been traditionally, I'll get up as the chairman and give the report under Article 1. It's not a debatable issue, it's just an informational presentation, so we'll leave copies out, and my goal is to leave copy of the slide presentation, our cover letter, and the recommendations with the town clerk, so hopefully that'll be placed up on the town website for all the reps to see at some point when the warrant is posted.
Nice. And you did talk to the new town moderator, John Curlin, recently, right?
Just very briefly
Oh,
after the
briefly.
election,
Oh,
and
I
I've
see.
been meaning to get a hold of him. I had planned to yesterday, it just didn't pan out with the day.
Because one question will be, will the MARCOM committee continue under the new moderator? Do you know the answer to that yet?
I do not. That was one of the things that we put in the cover letter. It was our expectation that it would exist in some fashion going forward, whether you keep it as a standing committee or every other year or two you bring it up. I think what would have helped when we transitioned from Dennis McHugh to Richard DeFreitas was that maybe we should have reviewed the rules in between the managers, and that might have helped set the groundwork for the new moderator. And I think here, the new moderator can only benefit from having all this feedback from the 162 reps. So.
Yes, yeah. I think it's going to be great. Well, thanks for all your work, Mike, in addition to the other 8 representatives from the other 8 precincts. So there were 9 total, right? 1 from each of the 9 precincts. And you all did a great job getting together quite often, right?
Yep, weekly. And it was Sam
Weekly,
Chase,
geez.
Mary Tiano,
Yeah.
Beverly Barrett, Judy, Francis Berry, Jerry Mead, Brian Latina. See, this is where I figured I might forget somebody.
Oh, that's fine.
Did I miss anybody? Was that
No,
9?
you got most of them though, Mike, which is great. But thank you very much, Mike. You put in a lot of work on that, so it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to your presentation. At
Kathy Duffin.
Okay, yeah, right. At town meeting. Yeah, good one, good. Well, thanks, Mike.
Right under the
Thanks.
wire.
We'll
So
talk
no-
more about town meeting later in the show.
Okay,
Thanks,
sure.
Mike. So I wonder if we could talk to Michelle for a minute about
Yes, of course.
the 9/11 memorial. Michelle, could you tell us what that is all about and
Yes.
where it's going to be?
Yes, of course. Obviously, 9/11 is a date all of Americans, are never going to forget. And our current fire station does not have a 9/11 memorial, and we are right now in the process. They're building our new fire headquarters, so
Yes.
what better way to get that 9/11 memorial in there?
Yeah.
The 9/11 It's a 9/11 Town of Chelmsford 9/11 committee that is, our goal is to save up money to build that 9/11 memorial, you know, in honor of those that lost their lives. Two of them include Chelmsford residents, Mr. Andrew Green and Mr. David Bernard, and I believe you mentioned there was another person.
Robert Penninger, he was a longtime Chelmsford resident. He had moved. He wasn't living here at the time, but he was on one of the flights that went into the Pentagon.
Oh, gee.
So the men and women of you know, the Chelmsford Fire Department are honored to have the opportunity to commemorate a 9/11 memorial in honor of all those people. The memorial will consist of a brick walkway that will run through a grassy area to a granite memorial. The granite memorial will include 2 granite columns, 11 by 9 inches, and 2 benches.
How high did you, how high?
11 feet by
11
9.
feet
Yep, by 9
9
inches.
inches
Yep,
wide, or
correct.
depth?
Yes.
Nice. 11 feet, nice.
Yep.
And is it going to have names on them or anything, or?
I'm not sure yet on the columns how that's going to work,
Yeah.
but the memorial will also, we will also have 2 benches, and I believe the benches were going to have the names of the 2 Chelmsford residents.
Oh, that's right, yes, I read.
You know,
Yeah.
Mr. Andrew Green and David Bernard as well.
Because isn't there something on our town website about this? Or maybe, I don't know if you've seen that, but I saw the rendition, I thought, on the town website.
We do have, we started a Facebook page, Town of Chelmsford 9/11 Memorial.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that
Maybe
will
that's
be
what I saw.
updating everyone on the progress of our memorial, you know, and letting, you know, people know what's going on with the memorial, and, you know, just updates and stuff about the memorial. The
Wonderful.
memorial will also, you know, will have plants in the area, you know, making it nice. There'll be lighting for residents to come visit, you know, during the evening hours as well.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And this is going to be on Billerica Road, where we're building the new fire
Correct.
station. In between the fire station part and the town offices, I believe, the memorial will be in the middle there.
It will be
Basically.
located on the fire, on the, you
Near-
know,
right
the
near
new
the
fire
fire station,
headquarters, yep, right in
Yeah.
front. We're hoping that, you know, we're planning on having a memorial a ceremony
Yes.
on 9/11, you
I
know.
see. So we're in April now, April
Mhm.
22nd, so we have about 4 or 5 months or something.
We do.
Yeah.
And right now, we're in the process of taking donations, you know, from businesses, residents, anyone, you know, 100% of the proceeds go to the memorial. There
And-
are 2 places where you can make your donation, either
Yeah.
to Enterprise Bank located on 185 Littleton Road or the Center Station on 7 North Road.
I see. Center
We-
station, yeah.
Correct. Those are the only 2 ways we've heard of people saying that they've been getting calls in regards to donations. That
Yeah.
is incorrect. So those are the only 2 ways to make
The
the
only
donation.
2 and to whom should they make the check out to?
Town of Chelmsford 9/11 Memorial.
Town of Chelmsford 9/11 Memorial.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And you don't know what this will cost. We don't need to know that or whatever, but do you
I
have any
don't
idea?
have an
Oh,
exact price. I
Oh,
do
that's
know that a lot of people have also donated material for it.
oh,
So,
okay.
you know, there's not a fixed amount.
Yep.
If there are donations left over, that money will be used for future years for the, you know, like upkeep of the memorial, the
Yes.
flowers and
Yeah.
just, you know, the upkeep of the memorial.
Nice.
It's pretty.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Michelle. Is there anything else that you want to mention about that, or that we might have missed?
For anyone, please go on and like our page.
On
you know,
Facebook,
on
right?
Facebook.
And what's it called again?
Town of Chelmsford 9/11 Memorial.
Town of Chelmsford
Yep.
9/11 Memorial.
Mhm.
I think I've already liked the page. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
anyone else that
Sure.
hasn't, please go ahead and like our page.
Great, yeah, please, so we get it up, way up there, and that way you get the information out
Yes.
all about it whenever the dedication is. It might be right on 9/11,
We're
did you
planning
say?
on having it on
September 11th, I
September
should say.
11th. Whether the station is built or not, we want to have it
Yeah.
that day because it
Yeah.
is, it does, you know, mean something to everyone.
Wonderful, well, thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I wonder if we could talk to Crystal for a little bit. Crystal Galloway Arnott, who's a manager at the Lowell Humane Society. How long have you been there now, Crystal?
I've been there for about 6 years.
6 years. How do you like it?
I love it. It's like home.
I could imagine, because I'm a big animal lover too, with 3 cats, and
Yeah.
2 of which I adopted from the Humane Society, and they're all fabulous cats.
Excellent.
And you brought a beautiful Letty in today,
Yes.
and you got her just a few days ago, just say, or before
We
the
did.
weekend?
Yeah,
Or
Good
the weekend?
Samaritan found her just wandering
Lowell?
around in Lowell.
Oh my God, just wandering around.
Yeah.
But she seems nice and tame, like not too much of a feral cat.
Yeah, she's very
Really?
sweet.
Hey,
She was
hey, lady.
definitely someone's cat, and part of the reason I chose her
Oh.
was just to, remind people how important it is to report their missing cats right away.
Yes.
You might think wait a while, but we don't have any holding requirements in Massachusetts for cats, so we don't have to hold them very long, and I'd hate to have someone's cat go into another home. So it's so important
Yeah.
to microchip your cats as
Micro-
well
yes.
as to call right away if your cat goes missing, so that we can get it back with the
Microchip
family.
and call right away if the cat gets. And of course, I would always recommend don't let your cats out if at all.
Right.
Mine are all indoor cats, and I've seen cats, all the troubles and things, the early death they go through if
Right.
you have an outdoor cat.
Yeah, it can be pretty dangerous.
And having them indoors, I think, is great. You have that scoopable litter. It's very easy. It's no big problem at all.
We definitely promote indoor cats. There's definitely also some exceptions to that. We've found we have some alternative adoption programs now for cats who can't live indoors for various reasons. And we work with barns and greenhouses and the like to find them homes
Yes.
where otherwise euthanasia in the past would have been the alternative.
Yes.
So for
Yeah.
most cats, indoor life is really the way to be. But there
Yes.
are a few cats out there that, outdoor living is their preference, and we'd
Yeah.
rather see them go to a responsible barn placement
Yes.
than have euthanasia be the outcome.
Which I
So,
agree. It sounds wonderful.
I think Letty will be a great house cat.
Has Letty been altered as yet?
She has, yep, that's her little tummy's been shaved. She was just
recently
spayed on
she-
Monday.
On Monday, wow.
Yep.
That's yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Just-
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
And did she get the microchip as well?
She did,
That-
yep, she was microchipped yesterday.
Because every cat or dog that you adopt out is microchipped, right?
Yes.
And if old enough, and they have to be, I guess, they're spayed or neutered, right?
Exactly,
Before
yeah.
they. And could you tell what it costs now to adopt animals at Lowell?
Sure. Our cat adoption fee is $125. It's for cats or kittens. It includes the spay or neuter surgery, their vaccinations.
Wow.
Microchip is also included, as well as the registration.
That's fantastic.
Dogs are $250. Includes all the same information.
Wow.
Dogs or puppies.
And how are we doing now in terms of your inventory of dogs and cats and other animals?
Sure.
What do we have now?
It's a
at
little
Lowell?
quiet right now. We do have less cats in-house than we usually do. So I think we have probably around 45 cats, including those in foster care,
And that's
which
when
is
you
low.
don't have wow,
Yeah.
45. But some are in foster
Yeah,
care,
some
right?
are in foster homes. We have a few litters of kittens with their moms.
You do? Oh, right
So-
now you have some kittens. That's nice. This
Yeah.
is at the Lowell
So
Humane Society.
They're at
Everybody.
foster. Yeah, they're at foster homes right
Oh,
now.
foster
They'll be
homes, I see.
ready about mid-May.
Mid-May
for
they'll
families.
come back to the
Yeah,
Humane Society to be adopted out.
exactly.
Nice. And how many dogs do you have? Any?
We have
And
about
what
7
types?
dogs right
Just
now.
7
Yeah,
dogs?
everything from big mastiffs to smaller rat terriers and chihuahuas.
Really?
So we've got a little something for everybody.
Mastiff. That's a big one.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
beautiful. His name is Kino, and if
Where
I
did
could
he
have
come
another
from?
dog, I would.
Oh, you have a dog
Yeah.
at home already?
I do. I've got 2 dogs and too many
Oh.
cats, as my husband says.
Yeah.
So,
How many? Could you say how many you have?
6.
Oh,
Oh,
wow,
boy.
that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So, where did you get the Mastiff?
The Mastiff actually was tied up outside of our building. We just found him in the parking lot, so we called
Oh.
animal control, and they held him for 7 days. That's the law to hold them, any dog that you don't know the origin of. And then since no one came forward, we did take him into the shelter, and we're trying to find him a home.
He seems to be good.
He's amazing.
very-
He's just a big, beautiful lug
Oh,
head.
that's nice.
Yeah, he really
Oh,
likes
wonderful.
to snuggle. Yeah.
And you're also here to talk about the steps for pets, right? Coming up soon.
Yeah, Steps for Pets is our biggest event of the year, and it helps us take care of all of the animals that come in. It's really important. It's our fundraiser event. It's a fundraising walk, and we ask for people to go ahead online and create a fundraising page, collect donations from animal lovers and friends and family, coworkers. Our volunteers have a little challenge against our staff this year, so we're going against each other to raise the most money. But all of the funds raised help us to be able to spay and neuter animals. We also have animals that come in that have medical conditions. Right now, we're treating a cat with a thyroid condition. We recently cared for a cat for almost 2 months who needed to be force-fed and receive fluids, every
Wow.
few hours.
He was-
He came in and became depressed and
Oh
wasn't
my
eating.
God.
So that took
Oh.
us a few months to get him back on his feet. He's finally well again, but all of that time, medication, it costs money. So
Yes.
these events really are what we depend on. We're a nonprofit, so
Yes.
we don't get any state, local, or federal funding, from the city
No
or state
state
or anything.
Or federal or
no,
local
it's-
funding?
Yeah, it's all fundraising and
Oh my
and
God.
grants that we apply for. So every penny makes a huge difference for
And
us.
when is that Steps for Pets again?
Steps for Pets is on May 4th. It's at
Oh, a
the
Sunday, right?
Yep, it's a Sunday at the Middlesex 4-H Fairgrounds right in Westford. So it's local. It'll be a
Oh.
beautiful day to
And
walk
where are they
around the
gonna walk?
grounds.
Oh, walk around the grounds there?
Yep.
Could somebody come that day if they,
Yes.
and they could pay what, like $25 or something
Exactly,
to register?
yep. Yep, you can
And
come.
what time does it begin?
It's from 11 to 2.
Oh, good, 11 to 2. And so somebody can get there like 10:30 or 10 o'clock or something? Or?
We say probably closer to 11. We'll be
Closer to
opening at 11.
Oh, I see.
There's a
I
lot
see.
going on, so we'll have vendors
Okay.
setting up
And
before
vendors,
that.
things? Yeah.
We have a whole kids zone with, a bouncy house and face painters. So even if you don't have pets, it's a fun day to come out, with your kids and your family just to enjoy and support the local Humane Society.
Oh, that sounds great. So that's Sunday, May 4th, starting at 11 a.m. at the 4-H Fairgrounds, right over the Chelmsford border in Westford,
Exactly.
which
Yep,
I
so it's
bike
nice
by
and
many,
close.
many times.
Yeah.
Bob Morse is on that same road, kind of. He lives at the Red Wing Farm in Chelmsford.
Well, I hope to see you there that day.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Hop on up the street and join us.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful, Crystal. Well, hopefully we can get our new home. If somebody sees Letty, they could maybe come into the Humane Society. Oh, what are your
Definitely.
hours of operation in Lowell at the
We're
Humane
open
Society?
every day except for Mondays. We're closed on Mondays, but every other day we're open 12 to 4.
Oh.
Thursdays we're open until 6. But that includes weekends. We're open Saturday and Sunday 12 to 4. So, it's a
Wonderful.
great
So
time to come
6
in.
days a week, just no Mondays. And if they forgot the times, they could check probably Lowell Humane Society on the web.
Exactly.
And probably, that's what I do a lot. They could check times from
Yeah.
various places.
And they
Well,
can check in
wonderful.
on Facebook. We're on Facebook too. We post a lot of our adoptable pets there. So
Oh,
it's
that's
an
right,
easy
yeah.
way to keep up with all of our events and fundraising. We have a lot going on. We try to keep things really fun.
Which is great. And you have a lot of volunteers there too now,
We
right?
do. We're very lucky.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, it's a wonderful organization. And thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here again, Crystal. We'll see if Bob has anything more to talk about for town meeting. We have another article, Article 17, Bob, which is to contract with a professional preservationist to perform historic inventories of properties across the community. So what's that all about, Bob?
That's a request from the Historic Commission. One of their prime roles is to conduct inventories of all the town's historic resources, structures, and buildings and whatnot. So the inventories, you can go online to the town webpage and go to the Historic Commission link, and
Yep.
then there's a whole list of hundreds of houses that have been inventoried over time by volunteers
Wow.
for almost completely, I think
Jane
completely.
Drury was a big one?
Jane
Jane
Drury
Drury,
did
yeah.
a huge amount of them.
She
You
did a
see
great
her
job, yeah.
familiar penmanship and her name at the
Yes,
bottom
yeah.
of dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of those inventories.
Yeah.
So her passing away was a tremendous loss for the
Yeah.
commission, and I think the requirements for the inventories have also increased over time. The Mass Historic, the governing agency for the commissions, has more requirements for it, and they really need to go seek some professional assistance on a number of upcoming inventories that they'd like to do for a number of purposes, and part of that is for historic restrictions. So just for the descriptions of the houses, and they're really, if you read them, they're like mini histories of the cultural aspects too, of the people who have lived in the houses and what their roles in Chelmsford were and what they've done. So good purpose and something that needs to be done. It's $8,000 is
Oh,
being
$8,000
requested.
for this one?
Yeah.
And then if it passes, you'll get started in a month or two or something?
They'll
in
hire
person?
a professional and
Fairly quickly?
and start working on them.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. I wonder if we could talk to Phil Jones for a minute about your CSA program?
Sure.
At the, what does that stand for, Phil? The CSA?
Community supported agriculture,
Community Support Agriculture. is
meaning
it?
people invest in our farm,
Yeah.
and depending on how the weather goes or how things go, we kind of divvy up a certain amount of food each week to everybody that's in it. So if we have, our CSA, we run at about 100 members. So every week for about 17 to 23 weeks, I think the most we've ever gone is like 23 or 24 weeks. And a couple of years we've gone to like 17 with frost or something stopping us, or early spring not being able to plant. So, and people come in every week and they pick up what's ready, upwards of, you know, in main season we could have 15, 16, 17 things that people would pick up a week.
Wow.
And then early on we might have, like right now, we've got scallions and lettuce and some Asian greens and a couple of other things planted right now, and we're going to start seeding carrots and beets and things in the ground.
When tomatoes, are you going to get those?
Well, they're started, but
They're started,
yeah, they're started, but
you won't harvest those till like August or something, right?
July.
July, yeah.
Mid-July, we're going to have 3 greenhouses of tomatoes this year. So.
Wonderful.
And we're moving basil into a greenhouse because basil's starting to have a similar problem that impatiens have now.
How are the
with the
impatiens
disease.
going to be this year, though? I missed them last year because of the disease. There was a disease, and they all like were
Same-
wiped out.
Same problem.
Same thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, most of the guys aren't even growing them anymore.
Really?
It's going to be hard to find
They
them.
can't fix that problem, whatever it is.
You got to use a lot of nutrition, a lot of trace minerals, a lot of things from the sea.
Yeah.
We're struggling. We're experimenting with things in soil balancing and stuff where I think you can beat it. On the basil, I think it's the same thing. But I think you have to become better growers, and we were lucky for years to say, as homeowners, to, you know, Miracle Grow, and we'll just put it down, and they're beautiful, and they grow beautiful.
Yeah.
Now it's a little different. You know, the disease has mutated, and we're starting to see it in coleus, and we're starting to see it in basil.
Oh.
It's the same disease that's in the.
Oh, that's
yeah.
too bad.
So you got to be, you know, we're actively trying to get people to grow organically and try to get them to use more balance in the soil.
Yeah.
And anything that makes a lot of seeds pulls a lot of things out of the ground. Hence the basil, which goes to seed very easily, is all constantly pulling. So you got to kind of keep fertilizing that to keep it healthy,
Oh, I see.
to keep it going.
I
So,
see.
but anyway, the CSA is really about you know how we're doing, and we kind of push. We try to get on the green side of it because we think they're better for people and they're more nutritious, and so we push greens a lot. But
Yes. Yeah.
you know, I think we raised like 22 vegetables, I think is what we give out.
So it's almost, is it entirely the vegetables that you grow, or do you also buy some and give them
We have when we're in between.
in between?
You know, like
Yeah,
if it's summer squash or zucchini season and
Yeah.
we're in between rows or in between
Oh, I see,
plantings,
yeah. Then you might
you might
bring
fill in
something
with
in.
yeah, a little bit to fill in, but not too often. We try to keep it our own.
And what does it cost for these? For somebody to sign up for the CSA?
$350 for a half share. and
$350 for a half share.
$600 for a full
Yeah.
share.
And that means
We have
every week somebody could come in.
Every week they come in and we give them a number so that if they go away on vacation, they could give it to somebody else to pick up for them.
Oh,
you know, they
nice.
could use it.
That's-
You know, they can
yeah.
pass it to
Yeah.
neighbors or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know, they come in and pick up on that number.
Nice.
So,
And there might be 20-something weeks, right?
yeah,
20
we try to do 20 weeks.
20 weeks. So at $350, it's like $15 a week or something for the
Correct.
half share.
Yep.
And the half share
we-
means it's just a smaller portion every week, right? Is that what
Yeah,
it means?
yeah, we try to keep it like at half a
So
week.
like a single person or a couple or something
Yeah,
might
it's
go
enough
for something like
yeah,
that.
it's enough for a couple. Yeah.
And because it sounds like you're going to give them a lot of vegetables or whatever.
Quite a bit.
It
I
would
think
be
I think people. I think people with us, they maybe get sick of arugula or sick of a couple of things, but
That
and kale,
sounds
we
healthy, though,
we
really
try to have
healthy.
kale every week. You know,
Nice,
kale
wow.
is actually the kale seeds can't even find them right now. They're so popular right now that the people we
Wow.
get our seeds from have been sold out since like December.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's like the vegetable of the year or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, kale, yeah.
But
But
that
so we
sounds great though.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
we like
it's very healthy.
It's funny, the deer like the Italian kale, Tuscan kale.
Oh yeah.
In our field.
Hey, they're smart
In our-
deer.
Yeah, smart deer. In our
Yeah.
field, the curly kale, no problem. They don't bother it. The Italian kale, they eat it right to the ground.
Oh my God! Yeah, well
it's
they
kinda
know what's
funny.
good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Phil.
You're welcome, Tom.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike, I wonder if we could talk a little bit about town meeting. Some of the other articles that will be coming up this spring. We're going to start town meeting next Monday on the 29th. And one big one is going to be the grinder pump article. Could you talk a little about that or any other articles you might want to talk about that you think might involve some discussion?
Sure. Well, that one, as you know, the Grinder Pump Study Committee presented their findings the other week to the Board of Selectmen, and I believe they voted 8-0 with 1 abstention in favor of having the town pick up a service. And I've been discussing that with some of the people that I know, residents as well, and I think initially there were some people that might have been opposed to it. I think sentiment's swinging a little bit more in favor of the grinder pump owners, only because the way, if you look historically how the town was laid out, a lot of it was gravity fed, and there were very few grinder pumps, and towards the end it seemed to be there were more grinder pumps installed, and some people do feel it's an issue of fairness, and as I recall, I looked at their presentation, I think it boils down to about $25 a household in order to pay for this contractor that would service everybody. And I think when you look at the human side of it, and this is what I was having dinner with somebody the other night, and they brought up 2 years ago when we had the power outage, the big ice storm, my end of town was out for about 6 days. So it's one thing to be without electricity and heat, water, but you can't use anything because your grinder pump's backed up and nobody can come out there and service it, or it's backflowing. I think that touches a lot of people, and there's a lot of empathy there.
Yes.
So I think where it was a very long debate and there wasn't a lot of information up front, I think this time around there'll be a lot more information. People will be able to hear from the committee, and I think the sentiment may be a little bit different this time around.
Yes. Does anybody in the panel have any thoughts about the grinder pump issue before we move on?
I'm in favor of form. I don't think it's fair. You talk to people and their houses aren't worth as much, and they're going through a lot. They're going through a lot. The people that are stuck with this grinder pump issue. I think we should help the people in the town and support it.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Yeah. Sounds reasonable to me from what I've heard thus far. Any other articles, Mike, that you think might bring up a lot of discussion at town meeting?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, there's standard articles that you hear, the budget, and that's one of the things that we were going to talk about in our recommendations is structuring going forward the warrant in such a way that the more contentious articles can be brought maybe up front, because a lot of times you have citizens come in, as you recall, during the grinder pump or the turf fields. People will show up on night 1 and they don't know if it's going to be held night 1 or night 2. And that's really a suggestion we're making to the Board of Selectmen, that when they put the warrant together, if they could use an eye as to what's going to be more contentious, what's going to bring in citizens, especially if there's a petition warrant article, that's going to bring in a lot more folks. So we're hoping that as part of our role in the MARCOM and our suggestions and recommendations, that addresses some of those things so that we help move the warrant such that it accommodates everybody who wants to be there. Not, you know, in the old days, an open town meeting, people would be concerned that if somebody voted, they left and they can come back. That could happen conceivably, but I think in our community you wouldn't see that. It's more of a fairness issue where you could try and put the warrant together so that with the busy schedules most people have now, if they're coming for, say, the warrant, during the turf fields, there was a lot of families who have kids in school. They take a night out and they bring their kids. There was a lot of kids there. You want to see that they get their say on that night rather than have them come back 1, 2, 3 nights. So,
I agree entirely.
So,
I think that's a great idea. I hope we get it implemented.
But it's a recommendation, and they're going to have to look at it. And similarly for efficiency, we have a lot of articles. We'll vote them. They're kind of standard pro forma articles where we reimburse for E-rate and different things. If we can put those, consolidate them maybe into one article on a consent agenda, we can move town meeting along.
Nice, nice. Thanks, Mike. Well, Bob, I wonder if we could talk about the Community Preservation Commission's and Historical Commission Article 18, which was to purchase and install road signage to denote historical areas in the community. What's that?
Yeah, that should be a quick one. That's they would like to put signs that are demarcating the entrance to North Chelmsford, South Chelmsford, and West Chelmsford. So entering, a sign that says entering the village of West Chelmsford at the, the inlet and the outlets from both sides of the particular village.
We have it for west, north, east?
I'm not suggesting one
for east
right now. I guess there really isn't what you could call a village center.
Yeah,
for
South, there
east.
is one, right? South.
South, yeah,
Chelmsford,
around
yep.
Maple and Acton Road.
So where
and
would the
Estates.
signs go, say, for South Chelmsford?
For South
there-
Chelmsford, it's more complicated because there's Acton Road, so
Right.
one coming from each direction on Acton Road, one for Maple Road, and I believe they want to put one on Robin Hill Road.
Oh.
So it would
yeah.
be a number of signs for South.
I see, yeah. Great, well, it sounds good,
Yeah.
Bob. And then also Article 19 from the Community Preservation Committee for the rehabilitation and restoration of land for recreational use, including the replacement of playground equipment, et cetera. What's that, Bob?
So a few years ago, we voted in $50,000 for capital improvements for recreational land. It's actually just a little over a year ago. The CPA legislation was modified to allow the use of CPA funds for doing capital improvements for recreational land that was not, where the land was not purchased with CPA funds. Before it was limited just to land that was purchased with CPA funds. So once they did that, then it opened up a whole wide range of
Yeah.
potential projects, and we saw the turf fields
Yeah.
being a big example of that.
Did some CPC, go into the turf fields? I forgot the
Oh
amount.
yeah,
If
$1.2 million.
1.2 million, nice.
Yeah, it
nice,
couldn't
nice.
be used for the purchase of
Right.
the turf itself, but it could be used for the installation of the turf and all the other aspects, which
yeah.
added up to a lot more than
And they look
$1.2 million.
Beautiful, by the way, right? I go by McCarthy Field a lot, and it just looks so great. You see it out there, and
Yeah.
I like the contrast of the red track, kind of reddish, and the green field. It just looks beautiful,
Yeah, there's people
I
there
hope-
all the time.
which is wonderful, yeah. So, excuse me, Bob, want to continue
So,
on that recreation?
So the recreation, that was desired to put a fund in place where applicants could come in and request money for, the initial reason was for playgrounds. And we had an applicant for South Row Playground for installation of some benches and recycling trash receptacles that you've seen around the Belly Buster trash receptacles that you see around
The
town.
big
They're
ones?
solar powered.
Oh,
They're actually at the turf fields. I noticed them the other day that they're solar powered and
Yeah.
they have the lights on them. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
So that helps
Nice.
with the trash issue because they take the trash and they compact it down so you don't end up with these overflowing trash cans.
nice.
So that's South Row. There was a number of improvements made there. And then at McCarthy School, they put in a playground and benches also, some geodesic structure and a climbing structure that's age appropriate for the middle school. That's 'cause the kids there at noontime or whenever they go out for recess, they need something to play on, and
Yes.
there really wasn't much. So
Oh.
that provides them with an opportunity. And we also provided $10,000 of money for the dog park, for the upcoming dog park. And in that case, they used that money as a seed money as a requirement for another huge donation that they're getting of in excess of $200,000. So the $10,000 made it possible to get a donation of over $200,000 for the dog park that they're going to be putting in on Richardson Road, the
Yeah.
former DPW yard.
This summer, right? And
Yeah, they should be
soon, I
starting
think.
soon. The DPW's cleared off most of the area, and so
Nice.
the project there can start.
That's going to be great. And Vivian Merrill and the Chelmsford Dog Association has been putting in a lot of volunteer work
Yeah.
on that. They're going to have a big yard sale next month, I think, in May.
Uh-huh.
I think at Vivian's home, too.
My next door neighbor.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right next door.
Yeah.
And also in May, they're going to have another fundraiser at Walgreens, I believe, and the drugstore in Chelmsford Center on Chelmsford Street.
Mhm.
You know, they have dog things going on that day, dog events and all that, selling hot dogs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, dog ownership's very popular in town, and
Yeah.
it will be a nice resource for
That'll
them.
be wonderful. And
Yeah.
Vivian and that whole committee is doing a great job, I
Very
think.
nice job.
And so are you, Bob. And are there any other committees that you have, articles at town meeting or?
Well, you have the budget is the big one of where we're paying off, making payments for all the different debts that we have for town halls, projects and turf fields, affordable housing, and for open space for Sheehan Farm. But I think that
How's
covers.
that working out? The Sheen Farm, that's up to 21, 22 acres or something off of Pine Hill Road
Yeah,
there?
29 acres. yeah.
29, and somebody talked about they were gonna maybe make a walking trail around it or something like that? Is
There
that
was
true?
there's going to be a preservation, an agricultural preservation restriction put on the property, and there was the desire to provide a walking trail to the public by the town manager wanted the walking trail, which I thought personally would be a nice thing to have, but there doesn't seem to be a good mix between agriculture and public recreation. So, so for now, it's going to be limited as per the agreement with the current tenant. There won't be any public access except for, during business hours for the use of the agricultural property, which is typically you pick strawberries, you pick pumpkins.
Are the Parleys going to be running it this year? Who's running that?
Yeah, they're going to
Are they
continue. They
farming
have a
it?
lease on it,
Oh,
on the
is it?
property, and
Yeah.
they're going to continue with that lease.
Wonderful.
So looking down the future, if there is some a tenant, a new lessee of the property comes in, this might be 10, 20, 30, I mean, it's for perpetuity, it's a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And where they
Yeah.
would desire some sort of public access, that can be addressed at that time.
Nice,
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, speaking of farming, Phil, on Elm Street, right, where the, what's her name, Meredith?
Yes.
Kent,
Kent.
you farm their property over there, don't you? There's
Yes,
how
we
many
do.
acres over there? 40 or something?
Yeah,
It couldn't
well,
be
yeah,
40,
we're-
could it?
It's like,
Is it
I
that
think there's
big?
30-something, but it's
Wow.
a lot of woods.
A lot of
Lot
woods,
of
I
woods,
see.
yeah.
So the open part, you actually go in and you grow
6 acres of
vegetables there,
fields.
right?
About 6 acres of fields, and
Wow.
this year we're gonna grow on about 4 of them. And we're gonna
4,
leave
yeah.
2 of them fallow,
Yeah.
1 possibly for winter crops.
Crops. Nice, nice.
Yeah, some root crops and
So
stuff.
that's nice. So do you farm some of the things that you have for the CSA program right
We
there?
farm
right?
a lot of
So
things
lot
for
of
the
vegetables
deer.
there?
No,
Oh,
just,
yeah, how do you keep the deer out if you have all these vegetables around? Do you have an electric fence or anything?
we have electric fences,
Okay.
but we're still gonna have to hunt them out. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we're trying a couple of things. We're gonna
Yeah.
do some biodynamic things and see if we can
How about
not
turkey?
have to shoot them.
Turkeys are so prolific in my area
They're
this
not-
year, which is
they're-
great.
They, knock on wood, they haven't been bothering us
Oh,
except for
good, good.
pecking
Yeah,
on a friend
I
of
like
mine's
seeing them.
truck.
Like, they're my neighborhood all the time because one of my neighbors actually feeds them, or the bird feed, and there could be like sometimes a dozen or more
Oh, yeah.
turkeys there. Sometimes I love when the ducks gather, like a whole slew of ducks, squirrels, of course, all the time, birds occasionally, but so we see
The
the turkey
turkeys,
every
yeah.
day. Oh my God!
We've seen a lot of,
So-
we've seen a bear on the land and
Oh, you have?
and a bobcat.
On Kent's property,
Yes.
there? Nice.
We actually
and a
filmed.
bobcat.
We actually
huh?
filmed. We were taking some films of time for photograph.
time?
Yeah, for the deer,
Yeah.
and this big old bear came by and
Nice.
knocked one of the hives over,
Nice.
and knocked one of the bees over.
Did he get the
He didn't really destroy it, but he
Oh.
just kind of knocked it down.
knocked it down? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, generally the black bears aren't dangerous, not like a grizzly bear. So people shouldn't get too afraid of them or whatever. Generally, they avoid humans.
Yeah, I haven't seen it except on the film, but the bobcat
I-
was right there. It was
Oh,
right
bobcats,
in the
yeah.
path.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
very concerned about a bobcat. Well, thank you. I'm not concerned about this group, though. I don't think you're going to eat me or anything today. Thank you very much, Bob, for being
Oh.
here again.
It's been a pleasure, Tom.
And thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Michelle Sacco, first time on the show. I thought you did great, Michelle.
Thank you very much.
Very, very nice. Thank you, Phil Jones.
Thank
Go
you,
look
Tom.
at the farmers markets
Thanks.
every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 at Jones Farm.
You got it.
You'll see me there a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I'm glad you have
Thanks.
more picnic tables too.
Yeah.
It'll be great. Thank you, Mike McCall.
Oh,
for
my
being here.
pleasure, Tom. Thanks for having me.
And it's great, 19th time on the show, and next time the big 2-0.
Looking forward to it, Tom. Thanks.
And thank you very much, Crystal Galloway Arnott, for the manager at Lowell Humane Society. You guys do a great job
Thank you. We're always happy to come.
for all our animal friends, and thank you so much. And we have little Letty here. If anybody's interested in Letty or any other animal, stop by the Lowell Humane Society. They're open 6 days a week, every day except Mondays. Thank you, our camera crew, George and Azora and Larry, and our director, Pete Padula. If you have any comments on the show, please send me an email at tcristiano@comcast.net. And also, if you want to join the Chelmsford Reps and Residents group on Facebook, that would be great. Thank you very much. I'm Tom Christiano. Ciao.